Welcome to yet another podcast with Arda. We have as our guest. He just to give a bit of a brief introduction to what Arda's been doing, so we can feel our viewers. He has been into the education industry for a long time, and he has been into the IT background as well. First of all, I'll just welcome Arda. Sorry, how are you, Arda?
Good man, good to see you.
Thanks for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So he has been into the education industry for a very long time. He's been tutoring in the ACS program. He's been also into a program advisory board for the bachelor's in security. So we might have a lot of questions for you regarding the graduates and the students here, especially in our Nepalese community, and also anyone who's willing to, take off their careers and have just finished their studies. You've been part of the education industry for how long?
Well, that's been since I was 19 years old, to be honest. So I studied my bachelor's back in Turkey, and it was a private university. And what happened was, I was able to become third in the entire university.
Wow.
And I was granted full scholarship. And part of that scholarship, I had to start working as an academic. So I started my journey fairly early.
Yep.
But I always keep my faith in IT because my background is computer science and engineering.
Okay.
But I loved education at the same time, so I just started putting them together.
Yeah. What part of education intrigues you the most? Is it like facilitating the education, or just growing the industry?
Well, it's an interesting question. I've pretty much done almost everything. I mean, I've developed curriculums. I've written a lot of resources as well. I mean, I've delivered education to a wide range of audiences as well. Yeah. So it's pretty much end-to-end process that I've been involved in over a decade. It's been about 15 years, I would say.
Yeah. What's the best part you love about all of those different processes?
It's just seeing people grow. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the whole motivation behind it is seeing people getting nurtured, So, for example, when you first start your class, you just see this bunch of young people, they want to learn something, they're hungry, and then over time, you see the growth and potential. Yeah. I think that is the most rewarding reason why I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, currently, I don't need to do it because I'm so busy. I'm pretty much working 14, 15 hours a day by average. But I always have time for people, especially young people. I've done a lot of corporate training as well. I mean, we trained leaders as well, but that is more technical training and leadership training. Whereas when you cater your solutions for young people like you guys, there's a bit of a different ball game.
Okay. Yeah, it's just that being there to encourage people and supporting is a really it's a different feeling altogether.
Yeah, and get them up to speed. When they come to it, they got no idea about their careers. They have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
So you give them a bit of a perspective. Yeah. And when you see them taking it on board and implementing it, that is, I think, the motivation behind it.
Yeah. I personally, for myself, obviously, over the years of my academics years, I have come across a lot of teachers, obviously, because we had a lot of teachers while I was studying back in India, back in Nepal. But there are a few teachers who try to enable you. That's the word, the enabler. Yeah. And you come to me as one of them who try to, transform the practical knowledge, like the book knowledge, into practical use. And I think that's where the big gap is as well. Yeah. So there are recent graduates who have a lot of knowledge but don't know how to implement the knowledge.
Exactly.
So is there any proper way we can, maybe able to give those practical knowledge as well to students, you reckon?
I mean, there are a lot of programs out there. I mean, Australian Computer Society is an example.
Yeah.
In the Profession Year program, we place students into internships. So it gives an opportunity to learners to actually take all that knowledge on board and implement in real life, put it in practice, so to say. But there are also a lot of university programs where we call this work integrated learning. Not every single program or university, but there are some opportunities out there. But I think one of the things that a lot of graduates or students lack is the perspective. I mean, I understand there are a lot of challenges involved, especially for international students. I mean, you guys come here, not everybody is rich, not everybody is wealthy, not everybody, starts the game equally, in terms of financials. So those people got to work. But here's the thing. A lot of students think studying is difficult while working at the same time. The bad news is just going to get worse. Because over time you get married, you got kids, you got to keep working at the same time, you got to keep developing yourself. So that learning will never stop. And which we call it the lifelong learners. So you go to work, you keep learning. And then you just realize after a while, I've got to do some certifications. I got to do this, I got to do that. So it is not just about the industry or educational institutions given that to learn. It is more about from a personal point of view. What can I do to keep learning and advancing my skills? How can I actually put this learning into practice? A good example would be, let's say you're an IT student, you're learning some stuff at university. The majority of students after class, they don't practice them. Rather than they choose just to memorize it, just for the sake of passing their class. Now, if you got that mentality, it becomes difficult, isn't it? So what you got to do, you got to become a person who is a self-initiator. So whatever you learn in the class or whatever you learn it, who is stopping you to go and put into practice in real life?
Exactly. Especially there's so much information now from the internet. You just need that attitude. Practically. You just need that. And with the young people, you have the energy as well. You have a lot of less commitments and also a lot of risk appetite. So you can have a lot of risk. So what I encourage younger people is to have an open mind, pretty much. So say someone is studying developers, software developers, you don't necessarily need to be working the software developers all your life, you know what I mean? So when you go to IT, you see, say, project management, you see, testing, a lot of different options.
Man, I've changed my career God knows how many times. Like when I started it, I was a C programmer. I absolutely hated it. And then I became a network engineer. I hated it even more. But I didn't stop there. Then I moved into VBA scripting and then data mining, business intelligence. I've done all that. Then I reached a state where I realized I can start my own company. Then I started my own consulting firm, which is a bit of education, a bit of IT as well. And then years passed. Now I'm back to Macquarie University. I'm working as a senior project manager. I do business analysis, project management. I've got a couple of contracts out there where I'm building, for example, the latest project I'm working on is Bachelor of Cybersecurity. So the point I'm trying to give you here is you've got to become a self-initiator. The problem with a lot of students or learners are, what are you doing in your free time? Right? Back in my time, we didn't have Google. So I had to walk kilometers to get to the library and spend hours in there to find the right book. Getting the information wasn't easy. It may look like a disadvantage, but at the same time, we appreciated getting knowledge from somewhere. The current problem is it is so easy. And
there's so much information flowing, you can't know what to do with it.
Exactly. Is it quality information?
True.
When I'm marking my students, for example, I can tell easily if they're plagiarizing, if they're just copying from somewhere, they're changing somewhere. We can see all that. But what they don't realize is you're actually hurting yourself in the long run.
True.
I always believed in focusing on what you're doing. You got to be committed. When I was a student, for example, and that was a century ago now, but having said that, currently I'm a dedicated father. I got a full-time job. I got a couple of contracts on top of that, and I'm still pursuing my PhD. Now nobody pushed me to do a PhD. But I consider myself as a lifelong learner. So I decided, okay, I'm doing all these professional development activities. Why not channeling all that into a learning pathway? So I think the lessons learned should be, what can I do to pursue further education? And what I mean by education, it doesn't mean master of something or diploma of something. Personal and professional education. And you can do all that. There are a lot of courses out there, like Coursera.
Yeah.
Study free if you like.
Study free,
You don't have to
yeah.
get the certification.
Sure, there's YouTube.
You know?
That's like a big thing.
Exactly.
Now. You wanna learn how to build a plane? It's out there.
Yeah. I mean, the tools and the platforms are out there,
Yeah.
which weren't at my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I compare myself with the young generation, we have much more dynamism
100%,
compared to them, you know?
100%. I just think it just makes it more obvious that it's the mind game rather than not being having the facility. So
Yeah.
when in your age we might be thinking, oh, this guy is very far from the library, that's why he
Yeah.
may not be studying.
Yeah.
But now you don't even have that excuse, you know.
Exactly.
It's all in your how much you want it at the end of the day, or how much you're
Yeah.
passionate for your career.
I agree. I think the main devil that, you know, young people gotta battle with constantly is procrastination.
Yeah.
Keep delaying it. Oh, don't worry about it, mate. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then tomorrow comes. Don't worry about it, mate. That is not gonna stop.
Mhm.
So you have to teach yourself self-discipline.
Yes. It becomes a habit as well
That's
over
correct.
the time.
Yeah.
You don't realize it, but with young people, when I was young as well, I felt like I had plenty of time, and I'm just 21, like, you know, I've got so much time ahead.
Yeah.
I'll think about it later, but like I didn't realize that was becoming a habit, and
Exactly. Yeah.
I couldn't even finish what I really wanted to do because, you know,
Yeah.
it just I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's all about, you know, putting the mind in the top game and
That's
just
correct.
nailing it.
I mean, the funny thing, I came to this country 12 years ago, and when I came here, I couldn't speak a word of English.
Yeah.
And all my friends at the time, you know, my background is Turkish, now Turkish Australian, of course, now.
Yeah.
But when I first came here, I chose not to stick to any Turkish community. Not because I didn't want to talk to them. Of course, they're my own people as well. But the thing is, I had to learn English fairly quickly. So this is an example of a mindset. If you don't have a growth mindset, that's a terminology, then that's going to be very difficult. And that applies in any stage of your life.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter you're a young learner, mid-age learner. I got friends, they're starting their PhDs at the age of 65, and I'm not joking.
Yeah.
You know, it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's all about commitment to learning and also passion for growing yourself to your potential.
Yeah.
That mentality is very important, yeah?
Yes, yes. Also, I feel when we're switched on and we're like, okay, life is something we keep learning, then we don't limit ourselves to, say, degrees or
Exactly.
you know, academic qualifications.
Yeah.
People are more skilled focused, I guess, now.
Yeah.
And just we're talking about how you know, their micro skill level now with the education. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what's happening now is, I mean, this has started especially with the big organizations, multinationals like Google and Facebook and, you know, Microsoft and all these examples. They later started talking about, you know what, we don't care about education. What we care about is what you can do. So that actually has caused a very, very disruptive shift to education institutions. Now, a lot of universities now focusing on employability.
Yeah,
I mean, there's one of the projects that I'm currently working on at Macquarie University. We're, for example, transforming our education as well. We're aligning everything to the industry now, right? So that's caused a massive shift. And micro-credentials are actually a derivative of that shift. So what is a micro-credential? They're sort of like short courses. We call them bite-sized learning. So rather than learning these massive degrees, now you can focus on what exactly you want to learn. For example, I want to become a network engineer. And if you look at some of the universities, you know, you study some core units and elective units, nothing related to networking, for example.
100%. There were semesters when I did networking as well. There were semesters where there was nothing related to networking.
And why would you want to go and pay thousands of dollars?
And a waste of time as well.
Exactly.
It's no use to me in my career now.
I mean, it is an interesting topic. When I was a computer science student, I studied a lot of funny stuff like economics.
Oh, wow.
Not related, but at the time I always thought about having my own business, and then I realized at an early stage I have to learn economics. Now, why I'm telling you all that, it is because in the past, if you were good at in one thing, good on you, you're going to keep your job. But given the current climate, and the shift in any industry, you got to be more versatile.
Yeah.
How are you going to be more versatile? You need to understand this holistic picture.
Mm.
You got to understand your entire ecosystem, not just what exactly you're doing.
True.
And in the past, it was very much focused on the hard skills, but now we call them, people call them soft skills. I hate that term.
Yeah.
I call them transferable skills or generic skills.
Okay.
Like
when we're talking about soft skills, is that the people skill that we're mentioning?
Well, I use different terminologies for those.
Oh, okay.
I generally I call them transferable skills because in any job you go, you do,
so
you can bring them along.
That.
Exactly.
All
Like
right.
communication, teamwork, like global citizenship, digital literacy, digital learning, all this sort of stuff. You got to be very well furbished with all these skills because they're going to enable your hard skills.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example. I mean, I worked with many people in the past, and still do.
Yeah.
For example, there's a gentleman that I'm working with. We paid him in an organisation that I can't name now. We paid this person $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
Now that is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
He's so good at what he's doing, but the problem is he's not workable.
Mm-hmm.
So those are actually changing now in the in the industry. Now we're looking at people who we can work with, not necessarily who has the talent.
When you mean not workable, as in
communication skills, like very basic, right?
Okay.
Attitude, very basic.
Okay.
I mean, teamwork skills, very basic. In the past, you could preserve all that information for yourself or that knowledge.
Yeah.
Not anymore, because now we have systems in place where we can establish knowledge repositories where we've got to enable collective learning.
Yeah.
So times are changing, people are changing, industry is changing, and this pandemic has definitely changed a lot.
Yeah.
Back in the days, it was just about face-to-face learning.
Yeah.
But now everything is online.
I think it just acted as a catalyst for your IT, how important IT is in our society as well, and how distant learning can be implemented.
Exactly.
And I think IT was just a industry that survived the pandemic, even thrived in a certain way. So it's very interesting. Also, for our viewers who would, I would assume, just recent graduates, can't land an interview. They get a degree into a high-end university. In Macquarie University, you have your University of Sydney, really prestigious universities, but they fail to land a interview.
It's a loaded question, mate. I mean, now the resume is a key to land an interview. Resume and your cover letter.
Yeah.
But I've been working with graduates, for so many years. That includes undergrads and postgrads, you name it. And I'm still mentoring and coaching them.
Yeah.
The primary issue is they don't have much to put in their resume.
Yeah.
Now that is the problem.
Yeah.
Now they blame the curriculum, they blame the universities. You can blame the whole world.
Exactly.
It is not going to change the fact that you as a person haven't done much about your professional development, right?
Which is not his or her fault as well. When you look at it,
it could be because again, you got to be a self-initiator, right? When I was a student at a university, I started my own GitHub because I was a computer science engineering student, right?
Yeah.
So I involved in so much development work. What I did, how about we put them just up there?
Yeah.
Let the whole world come and comment on it, learn from people.
Yeah.
The difference is, when I applied for a job and went there, and I'll cover up the resume and cover letter in a minute.
Yeah.
But when I went for my very first interview, I went there with a portfolio of work. I didn't work in anywhere at the time, but when I rocked up to the interview, I showed them so much stuff. They were so impressed. Currently, it is becoming even more challenging because back in my time, if you finish a bachelor's degree, you can get a job. Now you finish 2 master's degree, still very challenging. The question is, how are you going to stand out of the crowd?
Yeah.
So that means you have to think out of the box. How are we going to do that? If you follow what everybody does, you're going to fail like everybody does. So you've got to do something different. How can you differentiate yourself amongst all these people? It is very simple. When you have free time, cut off your Facebook.
Yeah.
Cut off all that useless stuff, right? Because they really are eating your time.
Yes.
So what I did actually when I was a young fella, open an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is exactly what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put all the hours and all the activities, sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people sleep 9 hours.
Yeah.
I never slept more than 5 hours in my entire life.
Yeah.
Well, for some people it may be a need.
Yeah.
Right? But you can train yourself to sleep less.
That's right.
Okay? A good example is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is one of the interviews he's saying, sleep faster. I like that saying, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, if you sleep 8 hours a day, when you die, 1/3 of your life you wasted in bed.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So the first question is, can you sleep a bit less?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not spend 2 hours on Facebook one day? Start, exercising about what activities on a daily basis I can cut off. Then it's going to give an opportunity for more learning.
Yeah.
And then, let's say 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
People may say, oh, that's not too much. Well, it may not. But multiply by 30, that is 60 hours a day.
Yeah.
A month, sorry. Multiply by 12, that is 720 hours a year. Now, I want to ask you a really simple question. Imagine you dedicate your time on anything in life 720 hours a year. Imagine what we would become in a year time. So young generation doesn't think about all that.
Yeah.
So when I was way younger, I put all that in an Excel spreadsheet and I came up with a very simple pie chart. It really gave me a beautiful visual, yet simple, representation of where I'm wasting my time. Now, isn't it simple?
Yeah.
How many people doing it?
Yeah.
Right?
Very less.
So you've got to really start thinking about different.
Yeah.
Right? You have to. The moment you do that, then you realize, oh my God, I'm actually wasting so much time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to start, putting it back to your own investment of yourself.
Yeah.
You can sit down and develop your professional development plans. You can implement it. If you do all that, you're going to have a lot of content to put in your resume. And trust me, mate, when we recruit people, we already know you're a graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we are calling you for an interview, that means 50% you're hired.
You're in, yeah.
Right? But the question is, how are you going to get there?
Yeah.
And the only answer is just keep pushing yourself.
Yes.
Initiate your own projects.
Yeah.
Who is stopping you, or what is stopping you to initiate your own projects?
Yeah.
Apart from yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It is all about investment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, you want to lose weight? You have to run.
Mm-hmm.
And eat less.
Yeah.
Right? You want to get a job? You got to do some work.
Yeah.
Less leisure, more work.
Yeah.
If you put the hours today, tomorrow will be easier.
Yeah.
Okay? That is pretty much what it is.
I feel, especially here in Australia, we tend to earn a substantial amount of money doing just hospitality work or just working in retail.
Yeah.
So that slowly kills your dreams because every day you come here, some of them come at 18, 19, some of them come like 20, 21. That's where you gain a lot of knowledge. That's like the really fruitful age for an adult or for a human being. Yeah. And you are putting those hours, spending so much money for a degree, and they just want to take a PR or something, they just want to have an easy life. Yeah. But, as you said, if you spend more time into developing oneself now, you'll have much easier life later on, or even a fruitful life, to say. It won't be easier, but it'll be really fruitful. So, also one thing what I found with youth and what I found myself was it was very hard to get a good mentorship. Yeah. And I think that's a huge gap here, especially in Australia.
That is critical. But mate, I tell you what, my generation, we had a mentor. We had to learn everything by ourselves. We had to fail all the time. Now the thing is, if you are scared of failure, that means you're not on the right pathway. You've got to fail at an early stage, make as many mistakes as you can.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of making mistakes. Yeah. That is an investment for future. We didn't scare because we didn't have the opportunity to be scared of anything.
Yeah.
Because we were pushed into the water and then just, all right, mate, swim.
Yeah, just swim.
Well, what are you going to do? You either swim to survive.
Or you drown.
Exactly. There is no option.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say you're studying marketing. Who is stopping you to initiate a project in digital marketing?
Yeah.
You're a computer science student.
Yeah.
Who is stopping you to do any sort of digital projects?
Yeah, just small projects. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you can apply this mentality into any sort of discipline area. Okay, you're working for you want to work for a social work or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go to an NGO and say I'm able to work for free.
Yeah.
Now I understand everybody needs an income.
Yeah.
Especially international students, but you've got to be ready to sacrifice.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah.
There is no other way.
There's no other way.
If your family is wealthy, you got the opportunity, fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then what are you gonna do? You just have to put these extra hours.
Yeah. No, I've seen so of my personal colleagues who started with me. They're just struggling and say like, I can't get a job. But like when you just graduated, you have so much time. You were studying before. You don't have to study now. Maybe just work on the weekends. For the full weekdays, you can practically do internship in the places you really like.
I mean, look, basic skills, for example, Aryan, right? I mean, Excel skills, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know any business that doesn't use Excel at all.
Mm-hmm.
Any business, any industry, any person. Well, sit down and learn it. Spend 1 hour a day, just 1 hour.
Yeah.
That's gonna become 30 hours a month.
Yeah.
In 6 months' time, you're gonna be, you're gonna really be learning substantial amount of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, working as a VBA scripter, I had no idea about VBA, and all my mates were working at coffee shops, all these hospitality jobs and all this sort of stuff. And I said to them, I refuse to work like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's a bad job.
Yeah.
Any job is a good job as long as you make income.
Yeah.
And you can look after yourself.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, in 3 months' time, I'm going to learn this so good, and I'm going to get a job. And that's what I did. Now, am I a Superman? No, I'm not. Am I smarter than anybody out there?
Yeah.
Probably some. But also, there are so many people smarter than I am out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the most intelligent man on earth.
Yeah.
But I had a plan,
Yeah.
you see, and I stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Now, why I'm saying this, because you just mentioned that it kills your spirit. You can't let it happen. The life itself is a battle, constant battle.
Yeah.
A lot of young kids, they think, he's driving an expensive car.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but we're working on it.
Yeah. True.
We're working for
True.
it, day and night. I'm 37 years old, and I'm still doing my PhD, still working full time, still, looking after my students. On top of that, playing with my daughter. It's just what it is, and that's never going to change.
Yeah, it's never going to change.
And the thing is, think this like a mathematical equation.
Yeah.
You can fit anything on the left-hand side, but the right-hand side will never change, which is 24 hours.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what I can move here so I can have more time to develop myself. A lot of students, for example, I can't write a resume. Why?
Yeah. Exactly.
Just why?
Exactly.
I mean, it is out there. Sit down and read it.
True.
Yeah.
That's
how I did it.
Yeah.
I only missed one interview in my entire career.
Okay.
Now again, not because I'm the smartest man on earth. It is because I learned how to write my resume. Right? A lot of students or graduates, what they do, they have one resume and they apply 1,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And then that breaks their spirit.
Yeah.
They go like, I'm not getting an answer. Well, of course, mate, there is a reason why.
Yeah.
If you buy a Ferrari and try to drive it on Himalayan mountains, what's going to happen?
Yeah. It's going to break.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Right? So if you get the wrong tool for the wrong purpose, obviously you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So you should know it is coming. Then what you got to do, sit down and learn how to write a good resume.
Yeah.
Couple of examples. The very clear point in writing a resume or cover letter, or both, is you're not writing about yourself. A lot of people actually, even professionals, not just graduates, get tangled about that idea. No interview, no resume, no cover letter is about you. It is about how well you fit for the position.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not writing about yourself, you're writing about why you're the best candidate for this role.
So you gotta change the perspective.
Exactly. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to actually operationalize it?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Write for the selection criteria.
Mm-hmm.
That is all you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So any job ad, right, comes with the musts, which we call them a selection criteria,
Mm-hmm.
and nice to haves,
Mm-hmm.
right? The desirables.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of desirables, it is of course better as much as you can address them,
Yeah.
but not necessarily you have to. Does it give you competitive advantage? Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
But your focus should be on covering the must-haves. How are we going to do it? So simple. Copy the job ad, and this is exactly what I'm doing at this age of time of my career.
Yeah.
I copy the entire job ad. I paste it in a very simple Microsoft Word document,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I'm writing my resume and cover letter, I make sure every single item is actually covered.
Mm.
The moment it is covered in my resume, so put the item in your resume, go back to your cover letter, write an example.
Yeah.
And that example is not about what you think, it is about how you have demonstrated it.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
And then I go back to my Word document, I just delete it.
Yeah.
So that gives me a checklist, you see. So I turn that selection criteria into a checklist.
Mm.
And then the other thing is, the moment you cover your selection criteria, then you just gotta look back at your resume. Don't write everything about yourself. There's the other problem. Nobody wants to read 3-4 pages of resume for a graduate,
Yeah.
right? All you gotta write there about your achievements.
Mm.
What have you achieved?
Mm.
Okay. But it is challenging though, because if you never worked in IT, let's say IT as an example, right?
Yeah.
You never worked in IT. You've been working in 7-Eleven,
Yeah.
which is a very common
Yeah.
case study, right?
Yes.
A lot of students work in like 7-Eleven, all those sort of companies, and then they want to get a job in IT, and they go like, "Oh, how do I do that?"
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm gonna just link back to what we just discussed. You have to do something during your tenure as a student. If you don't do it, it is becoming more challenging now.
Challenging.
Now you've done nothing in your studies.
Yeah.
You've done nothing in your work environment.
Yeah.
What are you going to put a resume together, right?
Mm.
Now, let's say you've done something about it, you can capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't done much, still okay. If you work somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
let's say 7-Eleven, going back to the example, how you can demonstrate alignment with the job. Look, you can only do your best,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
If the job is too technical, and if you've never done it, you can't lie about it.
Yeah.
Don't ever lie in your resume.
Okay.
It is very common. A lot of students do it. We know you guys are lying.
Have you caught someone lying in
All the
resume?
time.
All the time.
All the time. I mean, look, mate, we've been in the industry for so
I
long.
think just out of desperation, you're just so desperate to
Yeah, but
get
here's
a
the
job
thing.
and you start lying.
Here's the thing. Now, you're shooting your own foot.
Okay.
If I know you're not an honest person,
Yeah.
I don't want to work with you.
Yeah. True.
Because I already know you're a graduate, so you haven't done much.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
So what I want to see is, are you workable? Do you have a positive attitude?
Mm-hmm.
Are you an honest person? So those personal qualities and attributes will come into play,
Mm.
but you can't reflect them on your resume
Yeah.
nor your cover letter.
Yeah.
So what you gotta do, try to actually focus on what sort of mutual skills that you have. For example, you're working in customer service, 7-Eleven, there's customer service, and you're looking at a job, let's say, as a network support.
Never support.
Well,
Yeah.
that is customer service.
Yeah.
You're going to have clients.
Yeah.
You try to align them. You try to bring them together.
Mhm.
Again, as much as you can. Right? If it is asking you any sort of skill set about Active Directory, of course you can align it.
Yeah.
There's no way you can. But what you can do, here is a tip. You can go to seek.com.au or any job website. Okay? Find 10, 20 of them.
Mhm.
Okay? And have a look at the mutual characteristics and needs in these jobs.
Mhm.
Okay? And then sit down and document them.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to become this guy. I need to have skill A, skill B, skill C, knowledge A, whatever. Okay?
Let's take network support for an example.
For an example, okay. If you want to work in network support, let's say you're in cloud, okay? Let's say, it's about AWS. So you done nothing about it.
Yeah.
But now you realized any sort of cloud network support you want to go, they're asking you either AWS or Azure or any sort of technology. Now you just identify a gap in yourself. That is a beautiful start.
Yeah.
And be very honest when you're actually identifying that gap. Be very honest. Honesty should be your policy as a graduate.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have AWS skills. What am I going to do next? Put in your professional development plan. And 6 months time, I'm going to get that certification from AWS. Because that's going to push you in the competition.
Yeah.
So if you have nothing at the moment, that's fine. Keep working in your current job.
Yeah.
Okay. But then plan to reach and take and pin down your future role. That is called a professional development plan.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah.
What is missing in me as a professional?
Identify it.
How can I develop it? When am I going to do it? Okay. Now, that is the critical part.
Yeah.
I am a project manager. I always work by the deadlines.
Yeah.
That makes my life easier. The question is, as a person, what are you going to do when you don't have a deadline? That is the procrastination, right? Which we call it the gratification monkey.
Yeah.
It tells you, don't worry about it. Just, message that girl or message that boy. Let's go out.
Just have fun.
That has to stop.
Yeah.
Have your PD plan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll recap. Search for the job. Look at the industry. Understand the skills required. Sit down and turn them into a professional development plan and implement it. Okay.
That's the most important part.
That is the part. Take an action.
Take an action.
All right. You got to be like a bullet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you're actually in the interview and say you don't have any experience, but you can tell the interviewer, see, this is my plan. I know there are gaps in me, but this is sort of certification that's offered in the market. This is how much it costs. This is in 6 months I'm getting it. That would bring a different change in his eyes for sure.
Well, mate, of course. I mean, we recruit people, and again, as I said earlier, if you're invited for an interview, that means 50% we're going to hire you.
You're in, yeah.
I just want to know the person behind that paper because I never met you before.
Yeah, true. Okay.
I want to see the synergy. I want to see your energy as well. Are you a positive person? Are you workable? I'm going to be looking at those characteristics as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it is very rare that you're going to get that question because if that's not in your resume and I call you for an interview, that means I've seen some light in you. Okay. We're not going to push you crazily.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we want to see is, do you have the growth mindset? Is this your really passion? Or are you just getting a job for the sake of getting a job?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to employ that mentality.
Yeah.
I want to employ a headspace who is hungry, who is passionate, who knows exactly what they're talking about, which is called maturity. Okay? If you can demonstrate that in an interview, highly likely you're gonna land the job.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think that's where people go wrong as well. I think with lazier people, I don't want to say that, but they think getting a job is really difficult. That's what they put it in their head, and I feel that's where our society comes in as well. Like it's gonna hard to get a job. That's been like a forte.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. But one thing people gotta keep in mind is sometimes your best may not be enough, and sometimes your worst may be more than enough. You never know. This is life.
You never know, exactly.
You can't control that.
Yeah.
Sometimes life gifts you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But what doesn't change is you must be prepared all the time. Okay? Very simple. Now, who is stopping you to do this professional development plan and putting it in practice? Yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Even at this time, I'm currently studying for my PMI PBA certification.
Yeah.
I want to get a business analysis certification. Do I need to get that? Not necessarily. I have over a decade of experience in the industry and I can get a job fairly quickly, but still, So that can be learned. Okay? That attitude can be practiced. It is all about how badly you want to succeed.
True.
I mean, if you look at, for example, really rich people, like wealthy people, or people who have, have achieved something remarkable, they always have that mentality. And when you look at their childhood, they're either coming from a poor background, or they had to face a lot of challenges or something. They realized they can't fail. So that is the growth mindset.
But when you look at, sorry to cut you off, but when you look at their son who just inherited the property or inherited
a different
the wealth,
story, isn't it?
you can see right through. Even if they were brought up into the managerial position, you can see there are a lot of gaps in him. He hasn't worked his ladder through, and I feel that's
exactly. Because you gotta feel the burn. That's what we call it. You gotta feel the fire. You got I gotta get it done. Otherwise, I got no other option. All right. And the other thing is, I mean, that's just my personal advice to people. If you're gonna do something, do it or don't do it. Don't float in between. Okay. If you're not gonna do it, don't waste your time.
Just be honest with yourself, right?
Invest it into something else. If you're gonna do it, make sure you do it properly. Plan it. Okay. Put your heart, put your soul into it. Sweat, blood, and tears. That's gonna give you success. Okay.
End of the day, it's all about how much time you invest in certain things.
Exactly.
Right. Let's say I am I came out of graduate. I don't know how to say build a table, for example, and there's a carpenter who's really good, but I keep spending my time on building a table. Eventually, I will make a really good table, I believe, over say 5 or 10 years. So end of the day, what you invest your time on. So, as you said, we need to identify where all our time is going. With this small Facebook screen we're watching, just Netflix. Sometimes it's time that we're going. Especially with youths. It's a very valuable time. As you grow older, you will have time to relax. I guess you'll have time in work in order. Everything will fall into place.
Mate, you're right, and there are a couple of other elements into it. One element is don't ever listen to naysayers, right? For some reason, when people see somebody's better than them, I don't know what the reason why, but sometimes they just discourage you. Don't listen to them. A perfect example is the English test, right? Well, I had to take it, and at my time, we didn't have PTE. We all had to take IELTS. All my mates failed, not all of them, but most of them. And they said to me, there is no way you can get an 8. I'm like, why? If somebody has taken it out there, why can't I take it as well?
Exactly.
And I sat down, I prepared myself for 3 months, and I achieved 9 in each band.
Wow.
Now, do I speak perfect English? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But am I speaking enough to get by?
For sure.
Exactly. I mean, mate, I've written about 50 books. They're all on my website. I'm selling them in a digital format.
Can you name one of the books you've written?
Oh, mate, there are so many. So my website is www.vetfair.com.au. It is vetfair.com.au. Vetfair. We get about 9 qualifications up there, and about 50, 60 of them I've written myself personally.
All right.
The reason why I'm saying that, I am no different than any international student, right? And as a matter of fact, if you're coming from countries like Nepal and India, you guys speak English. Well, I didn't speak any English, you see. But when I came here, I never missed a single lecture. Never. I never cheated in any of my assignments. I've wrote everything word by myself. All my mates said to me, man, you're crazy. Why are you wasting your time? Now when I meet with them and I ask them, what are you guys doing now? Because that is the mentality, you see. If you want to do something, do it properly. You're working for yourself, don't forget that. And if you cheat, you're cheating yourself. Okay? So that is the thing. Alright, so put it into practice, plan it, that's pretty much all about it,
Can you also talk a bit about finding a right career for yourself? Because end of the day, we're spending 9 hours of our day in the work we do, on an average. It can be more as well. And that's majority of your life,
Exactly.
And that's where depressions come in when you're in a job you don't like,
Yeah.
And I think it all comes together. You know, happiness comes when you're in the career you work. So that part of your life is really important when you choose a career.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be like, you know, earning a lot of money or anything, but something you really love.
Yeah.
And so is there any way we can, you know, find what we like?
Matt, that's a good question. I mean, I think the majority of the world, people complain about that, right? Or I hate my job.
Sure.
Right? And there is a reason why. When I talk to my students, especially the master graduates, I'm like, what do you guys want to do? Like, what are you guys going to do? They go like, oh, I want to work in cybersecurity. I'm like, why? Because that's the future. Yeah, but do you like it? Do you have the skills? Do you get the mentality? Like, I wouldn't want to work in security at the moment. I love project management. I could work in cybersecurity within project management, right? Because I love it. I love talking to people. I'm going to give myself as an example. When I started programming, networking, all this sort of stuff, I hated my life because I never enjoyed it. I'm a social person. I love talking to people. I love driving things, running them, you know, bringing people together, collective thinking and all this sort of stuff. Then I realized I could be a good, you know, business analyst or a project manager. That's how I started it. I didn't think about, you know, artificial intelligence is the future, so I got to become a machine learning engineer. I can learn machine learning, which actually I am doing for my PhD, but I am learning as much as I need, right? Anything around that, I am investing back to my project management and business analysis skills, okay? So here's the thing. Sit down and think about yourself. Who are you? What do you enjoy about life? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And that's not that difficult. Get a pen and paper. Sit down and write there what I enjoy doing in my life and what sort of job I would be so happy to take on so that I never feel like I'm leaving home. That is very important, right? The moment you have fun in anything you do, you're going to be so productive and creative. Those people who makes other people's life miserable are those ones who hate their jobs as well. So you're actually not killing yourself, you're killing the entire ecosystem. For example, you know, sometimes you go to NRMA or Medicare or somewhere to get something done. Sometimes you see these people very happy, they just want to help you. Some of them just, how can I help you?
You can literally feel it the more you, the time you interact with them, you know, you can see how much they're happy and how much they like the job.
So that is your starting point. Who are you? Understand yourself, but again, be honest. Okay. Second thing is look at the industry. Which part of the industry and think futuristic. For example, you may not be very good at programming. Maybe you don't want to work in AI. Fine. But you can work in cybersecurity, for example. And when I talk about cybersecurity, a lot of people think about, my networking skills is not very good. Fine. You can learn how to become a security expert in very different areas. For example, you can become a privacy officer. Right? That sort of thing. Like, try to understand, the message I'm giving is try to understand all the dynamics in that industry and then go back and look at yourself. Would you be happy? Okay? That is a starting point, man. You know?
Sure. And also with our, especially with our society, is you have very limited options that our parents provide. So when we were a kid, when I was a kid, they used to ask me, what do you want to be? And this would be literally like doctor or engineer, or like there were like literally 4 or 5 career options we could choose from. One thing is because they haven't worked in a corporate, so they don't know what different, which I don't blame them. But we need to be, as you said, just step on the door and, you know, try ourselves. And as we said, like change the career over time. You know, we fail and we know, this is what we don't like, take it off.
But I've done it so many times.
Move ahead,
you know, and every time I did it, again, the naysayers, right? They're like, you've been in this role for so many years. Okay. So what?
So what? Exactly.
You know, sit down and learn a little bit. It's all about, again, self-initiation and be very confident, right? Don't be scared of trying something new. Try to be more convergent. I mean, convergent means bringing multiple things together. If you can do that,
Yeah.
then you become versatile.
Yeah.
Okay? And every single time I change my career, all those transferable skills help me stand up. You know, that's very important.
Yeah. It never goes to waste, to be honest.
Nah.
If you go, you were a developer, I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure some knowledge you're still using it in your project management. Some developer comes
course.
over and tries to trick you, but you've done it before.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, this is not how it is. Like,
Exactly.
this always builds you over time.
And man,
for
look,
sure.
interesting you saying that. A lot of software engineers that I know, they are on a track in their careers, they end up becoming business analysts
Mhm.
because they develop their domain knowledge in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to do that job anymore, but
Yeah.
I can use that domain knowledge in a different
In
role.
a different role, yeah.
You can do all that.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, you actually said a very good point. My father, for example, is a very well-educated man.
Mhm.
Can speak multiple languages, finish universities. But even he,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I said to him, Dad, what should I become? He said to me, oh, computer engineering. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good job.
Yeah.
I didn't know, so I ended up becoming a computer engineer.
Yeah.
Maybe I was going to be a great lawyer.
Yeah, you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
But shall I blame him?
No.
What is stopping you to do your own research and own thinking? And universities have a lot of opportunity to go and talk to.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, meet with people, message them.
Yeah.
A lot of students or graduates, they apply for a job, any job, and they go like, oh, nobody's calling me. Well, did you try becoming a member of any specific group in LinkedIn and are following them up, interacting with them, messaging them,
Yeah.
going to the group meetings,
Yeah.
get your, like, this is how I get my first job. I was on LinkedIn,
Okay.
and then this is when I was changing my career.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by my first job.
Yeah.
Because back in my time, we didn't have LinkedIn, I'm like, okay, I want to do this job, but I want to learn from the real professionals. So I found them on LinkedIn. I became the members of the group, and I realized after a while, because I started following them on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and then I realized they're holding these monthly meetings,
Mhm.
catch-ups. I rock up there the first time, second time, started building my network. When you do that, you gain so much respect.
Yeah.
And then I realized all the skills that I got to develop, at least to put myself into the position, which I did it, implementing my PD plan again. That's it. I mean, when I talk like this, a lot of people think it is theoretical. Not necessarily. It is so practical.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Talk to people, find professionals.
Yeah.
We never turn our back.
Yeah.
If somebody does, so be it, who cares?
Yeah.
Go and find somebody else.
Yeah.
There are 7 billion people out there.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, one person will come and talk to you.
Yeah. It's all about passion every day, and they are human. Like,
Exactly.
Nothing more. Just
Exactly.
network. They have emotions as well. They
Yeah.
want people to grow. They're not like evil person who want to just
No, I mean,
suppress
look,
you.
mate,
or something.
we see you guys as the future of this country, or any country you're in.
Yeah.
Okay? So we understand the value of you guys very much.
Mhm.
But what we want to see is you people to step up a bit and initiate those conversations, initiate those actions.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I have many students that I check their resumes for free when I have time, because for me it is a 10-minute job, right? But are you asking for it?
Yeah. But for them, it could be life changing for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I like about the education industry as well. But what I dislike is currently it's turning into a very lucrative business as well.
Yeah.
And people try to, get money out of students showing dreams. And in our community as well, it's like a lot of students here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people trying to get into the industry so that they can take money out of students.
Yeah.
And I really despise that, because students are working their ass off. They don't have a lot of hours.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of loan when they're back home.
Exactly.
Their parents have a lot of
Yeah.
hope,
Yeah.
and they show you dreams that are not achievable.
Yeah.
So like I love in education industry. I probably would love to work in the industry myself,
Yeah.
because it grows people and it brings
Yeah.
future people out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel there obviously every industry has good and the bad things, but yeah, that's one of the things that I really like to focus in.
Yeah, I mean, look, unfortunately, that is true. Just like in any sector, there are good people and there are opportunists, right? Now, here's the thing. If you actually understand what you want to do next, nobody can actually, charm you into doing anything that you don't want to, okay? Now, some higher education institutions, not naming anyone, their curriculum is terrible, people teaching they're terrible. Yes, it exists. That exists anywhere in the world.
Anyway, yeah.
There are also good institutions, there are also good people. Okay.
Yeah.
Then how do you align yourself?
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, it's a problem. All you gotta do, keep reading. Okay. For example, I finish a book a week. That is my personal policy.
Yeah.
The book may be thick, may be thin, depending on how much time I have. Okay. What I do, for example, on LinkedIn, I follow Bill Gates all the time, because what he does, every month he publishes the best books that he has read.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
I'm just being lazy, right? He's doing all the groundwork for me. I just go like, okay, that looks interesting. How about give it a go?
Yeah.
You can do exactly the same thing for your education as well. You just be out there, talk to people, and I really encourage students to talk to each other. If they're not having a really good time and experience in any sort of education institution, tell your friends, share that knowledge. Because education is the solution for humanity.
Yeah.
That is the reason why I'm always in education. If I can bring a little impact on somebody else's life, I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not charging for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Well,
great.
when I work, I can't work for free, obviously.
Yeah.
But apart from that work, I have so many students that I'm mentoring and coaching, and that is for free.
Yeah.
They can call me anytime. They got my WhatsApp. They can text me and all this sort of stuff. Find people like that.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah.
Get some nurturing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
So when you said the education is the answer to our
Yep.
problem, I'd like to add a few on that.
Sure.
You know how many issues we have, say global warming, and we have poverty, we have a lot of issues, war for sure, like racism, but it all comes down to education.
Exactly.
End of the day.
Yeah.
Like if someone's educated, he can feed his family.
Exactly.
When someone's educated, he will take care of the environment and the climate and know that you're not supposed to use plastic. But if you're not if you're not educated and if you're under the poverty line, like that plastic means nothing to you. You don't have food to eat. You're gonna cut the tree down to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it comes down to education for sure.
I mean, it's a good point. Since we started this, conversation today, I've been trying to give you a very simple message. It's all about personal education. People think they'll go to university, boom, done. It doesn't work like that. And I tell you what, most universities, even the good ones, we're teaching students how to pass, right? Unfortunately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay? No, I'm not saying all universities, I'm not saying everybody, of course not, right? But the thing is, how do you position yourself in this big picture? Okay? Sometimes the world is spinning. You gotta pull yourself out of the world and have a look. What am I doing? Where am I standing? What should I do next? You have to do that reflection. That is very important. Otherwise, okay, you pay $40,000, study in a university. I have so many good students. They study in best universities of this country. They still can't get a job. And I have students who study in okay universities. They got a job like that.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, stop blaming the ecosystem because you're part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you do have all the tools and techniques and the platforms to actually think out of the box. Ask yourself how much you're dedicating yourself to actually your future. Okay, blaming will bring you nothing, mate.
Yeah.
Because nobody will say, "Oh yeah, you're right. Let's give you a job." It doesn't work like that. Okay, you've got to get out there and get that job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Just before we wrap up things,
Sure.
I want to talk about how to keep oneself motivated as well, because that is very difficult when we have so many things to do and it's hard to focus, and especially when you don't have a job or something
Yeah.
you like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you have a job, you're motivated, you got money coming in,
Yeah.
like you like what you're doing. That's the
Yeah.
easy part.
Yeah.
But it gets difficult when you don't have a job, you're in a
Yeah.
home, every one of your friends are working,
Yeah.
and you don't have any money coming in, you're stressed out, and
Yeah.
that leads to, you know, sometimes suicide or getting to drugs and stuff as well. Those are the root problem there. So yeah, can we shine a bit of light as to how to keep yourself motivated when times are very tough?
I mean, the very first thing is you got to be ambitious about life. If you're ambitious, your ambition will not allow your mind to kill your passion into doing anything.
So long-term vision.
Exactly. Now the thing is, the mind is an interesting thing. It is so powerful that it can, you know, give you anything you want, but it can take everything from you at the same time. You've got to teach yourself how to control your mind. Now, it is interesting. My background is Turkish. We don't have meditation like you guys do, or in India and in Nepal, Tibet, you name it.
Yeah.
I am, for example, doing Kundalini yoga every day. Right? 20 minutes. Okay, it helps me put all my thoughts
How long
together.
have you been doing that for?
It's been about 6 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, I sit down and think.
You feel changes, you feel the energy?
Big time.
Yeah.
And I learned it myself. I didn't have a teacher. People overcomplicate everything. I am not trying to become a Kundalini yogi. Right?
Yeah.
I am just trying to use Kundalini as a tool to, you know, to recuperate my thoughts. Okay? So you can do meditation. Okay? You can talk to people who are better than yourself. Now this is an important point. A lot of kids, I mean young kids, they're having friends with people who give them nothing. For those people, I would strongly advise, pick your friends carefully. Okay? If people are better than yourself, that is good, because you can learn from them.
Yeah.
Okay? Third of all, step out of your comfort zone. Okay? Sitting at home and, oh, I'm so sorry, life is like that.
Yeah.
Mate, life is the same for everybody, trust me. Everybody has goods and the bads.
Yeah.
We're all facing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Last year I was going through a divorce process. What was I supposed to do? Sit at home and say, oh, I'm getting divorced. Yeah, but life is carrying on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to have a very, very strong mental state. And it is, again, in your hands. Okay? From that context, since I was a kid, I've been reading Krishnamurti, an Indian yogi, fantastic man. Find people like Dalai Lama, I listen to him now and then.
Yeah.
My background is Muslim Turkish.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Wisdom is wisdom.
Wisdom is wisdom.
Right?
True.
So you learn from people.
Yeah.
And have a plan. When you're implementing your plan, don't let anything stop you. You got to be like juggernaut, you know, just get out there, have some momentum, right? I don't know if you guys know who Juggernaut is, just a comic character in X-Men.
Yeah, the
you
big
know,
head one, right?
the big guy, right?
Yeah.
So his entire thing is about momentum. Have that momentum. What is momentum? Start doing something. Start with baby steps.
Yeah.
Small. I guarantee you, no hard work fails in the end. No hard work.
Yeah.
In the short term, you may sometimes feel, oh, this is not working. Be patient. Believe in life. Work hard. Life will give it back to you.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a plan, you are destined to fail.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a plan. Be persistent. Be steadfast. Okay. Be very patient.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, don't let it slide away. But at the same time, if something is definitely not working, stop there. Maybe it is time to look back and revise your plan.
Yeah.
So you need to have that intellect. Okay?
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much.
Not a
Thank you so
problem.
much, Arda. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming over. I will also tell my viewers to go over to your website.
Sure.
Could you repeat the website for them, please?
There's webfair.com.au. It is www.v for Victor, E for Eric, T for Tay, F for Frank, A for Apple, I for Ireland, R for Romeo.com.au. Vetfair.com.au.
Okay. Yeah, you'll find a lot of interesting courses there, and definitely give you a lot of value, and hopefully you got a lot of motivation out of Arda. And thank you all.
Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Good
much.
one, mate. Not a problem. I really enjoyed.
Loved it. Loved it. It was
Has it
good.
been an hour?